Okay, now we're going to spend some time on problem 4. I'm going to use some water to illustrate cross sections on these solids. We're going to start with the first thing you see, which is a cylinder. So I took some water and I dyed it green. And if you want to know a good way to find cross sections, you can just say what shapes would the top of the water make as I move it around. So you can see here, as I tilt this cylinder, the shape I get is an ellipse. All right? When it's straight down, the shape I have is a circle. If I cover it up so I don't spill water all over the place and seal it up so I can turn it sideways, so it goes from being an ellipse, and then you can see that this part right here, I get a straight edge, I can actually get a rectangle when I turn it sideways. So some different cross sections, there are rectangles, ellipses, and circles, and you can even get a line. You're probably saying, how could I get a line? Well, if I kept emptying the water out from here and it kept going down and down, the rectangle would get smaller and smaller and smaller until it eventually became a straight line. Alright, now I've taken a square pyramid. It's upside down because that's where they put the lid to put the water in. And I put some water in it so we can see some of the different shapes that we can make. So I'll take the top off just so it becomes a little obvious. You can see I can make a cross section that's just like the base. I can make another square. I can also tilt it, and that looks a lot like a kite. You can tilt it this way, so that was tilting towards an edge. This one is tilting towards the this edge, this base edge. And you can see I can make a trapezoid. And if I put the lid on so I can tilt it even more so that it makes a cross section with my base, now it's turned into a pentagon, a funny looking pentagon. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then of course, if I keep taking water out of it and make this get smaller and smaller, eventually this square will turn into a point. So those are some of the different cross sections you can make with a square pyramid. Now I have a square prism. I put some water in it, and obviously one of the shapes you're going to have is a square. Now you can make it a rectangle by rotating it slightly. In fact, I could rotate it edge to edge, and you can see a longer rectangle there. Now a cool thing I can also do is if I kind of rotate it, let me play with it a little bit. If you get a lot of corners, yeah, see this right here? You can see 1, 2, 3, there's a 4 down here, 5, 6 sides. I can actually make a hexagon. Here, let me show you. Maybe it's a little easier to see that way. Can you see the different lines here and right there? And I can actually make a hexagon if I rotate it just right. So there's a bunch of different shapes I can make if I just rotate it just right. It's kind of hard to get beyond a hexagon and a rectangle. I'll lower the water a little bit on this one and pour some water out until I just have, now that I have a lot less water, one of the other shapes you can see is a triangle. So let me see the triangle right there. There's one side, there's the other side, and here's the base on this edge. And I can even make it a trapezoid. See the trapezoid? So with less water, you can also see different shapes. Now, if I did this like so, right, I've got a rectangle right here. If I kept lowering the amount of water, then I would eventually get a line. And if I kept lowering the water on this part, I would eventually get a point. So I can also get a line and a point. And I don't know if I showed you the cool diamond shape you can also get. So let me pour some water in here. And you can get this sort of diamond shape if you can reach both these corners here. So it kind of is, it's no longer a square, it's more of a diamond. Okay, for the last shape on your review packet, but these aren't all the shapes you should know, the last shape is a sphere. So I just went ahead and poured some water into the sphere so you can see it's making a little pool there. And the shapes that it can make, well, let's see, here it's a circle. Let me rotate it some more. Still a circle. Let me rotate it some more. It's still a circle. So a cross section of a sphere is always a circle. If I put more water, I can make the circle bigger. if I pour water out, I can make the circle really small until I have a tiny little point. There's my point. Can you see it right in there? So that could be the cross sections of a circle, of a sphere. It's basically circles and a point. So in summary, when we go back to the cylinder, we were able to get a circle from the base. When I tilted it on its side, that made a rectangle. That's kind of like if I did a slice here and then straight up and down and then a slice there, okay? I could make an ellipse when I go side to side. And then I actually can make another shape. I can, actually, I forgot, you can go like this. This is the other shape you can make. Like when you go side to side, that's another shape you can make. I didn't get to make that one for you. All right, for the square pyramid, we found out you can get the square. I left my square off right here. So the square is possible. We made a trapezoid when we kind of tilted it down low and then we came up that way. We made a diamond when we kind of just tilted it equally so that it stretched out this side to that side. We made a rectangle. And we made a pentagon. For the square prism, we obviously had a square. Where's my square? There's my square. You could make a rectangle if you tilt it a little bit. You can make a triangle if you go on the sides there. You can make a diamond if you connect the dots, kind of going a little bit slanty. And then you could even make a hexagon if you cut enough corners, like if you came across this corner, came across, kind of complicated, all right? And, of course, a point. You can make a line, and on all of these you can always get down to a point. A point is always an acceptable intersection. Lines, not always, but points, yes. Then finally, for my sphere, all I could do is make small circles, big circles, and, of course, a point.